Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Freedom Network podcast. My name is Josh Blanchard. I hope we're all doing well. I've got the pleasure of Dale Holmes joining me today, which is an absolute honour. We tried to do this yesterday, but unfortunately we had a few tech issues. But hopefully everything runs smoothly today. And thanks for coming on, bro. I really appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Yeah, we got a good connection today. Yesterday was weird when we just couldn't. I don't know. Sometimes it's just not meant to happen. So anyway, it looks good now. How you going?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just hanging in there. Fucking, this rain is just relentless, isn't it? I think we had about a week of dry weather where it stopped, but it's just started back up again, and it's just it's next level. I heard the northern New South Wales and Queensland are in for it again. How are they going to cope with another dumping? It's just insane, isn't it?
I was just talking to my brother this morning. So he lives up there. He's right on. He's in between Byron and Tweed. And he just messaged me this morning. Said they got 230 mils yesterday.
Wow.
So like being from Victoria, that's like, I mean, we wouldn't get that sort of raindrop ever in a day. Like I remember when we had pretty big floods here in 2011, and it was sort of the same. There was a build up for a few months where it was just consistently raining, but then it flooded here. We got about 70 mils a day, 70 or 80 for like a few days, and that flooded. So 230 mil when the ground's already wet, the catchment's already full. Like I said this when it first happened, I said, wait for the recovery because they're going to do it again. And it was the same when it flooded here too. It was about a month and a half later because everything's so full and wet that you only need one big dump. So I think they've got rain the nex couple of days, and then it's supposed to drop away again for another 4 days and then more rain. But man, like some of the weather patterns I've been looking at this morning, even coming in, it's not natural. Again, like there's layering of what's going on, I think, but there's obviously there's clearly manipulation taking place, but we're just going to have to see what happens, man, and whether the rest of the country is going to start copping, whether it's rain or other natural disasters, because they are pushing this climate thing, but it's being exposed too. Like I've never seen weather manipulation being exposed to the level that it is now, along with many other things. So it's a double-edged sword, I think.
I just don't know how these places up north are going to deal with that. Like we're already seeing how ravaged they are. It's just like I said, Lismore fucking literally looks like a dump. Like
they obviously don't want to live there, do they?
No, definitely not. Yeah. And this is what it's all about. Agenda 21, get them off the land. I've been saying this ever since I started this channel. Way back around the bushfires and that, because that was the same sort of agenda. And it's just fucking unreal. There's just so much happening at the moment, isn't there? It's just
that's the thing with weather warfare is it's just the best weapon because you cause so much destruction.
No one expects it to.
And yeah, that's the thing. It's. I mean, I was going to say it's kind of hard to prove, but they've made it obvious this time. But for the average person, they're not looking at this is a weather weapon. But the other thing is too is it's because it's been there's treaties that have been signed that governments can't use weather as a weapon of war against other governments. So to use this against our own people. It's, at a later date, this is a war crime too. If this is exposed, it's a war crime to use a weapon of war. It's no different than what, they were accusing Assad of doing, gassing his own people, which, he wasn't. And they're playing that old tactic again now with Russia saying that that's the red line, that, if he's going to use chemical weapons, we'll respond within 20 minutes. And actually another one, like I'm feeling something's going to build up towards Easter here because they're talking about the Queen having ill health. There was Greg Hunt yesterday's Do you see this one Greg Hunt put out? I'll have to find. I've got it here somewhere.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, here we go. Honourable Greg Hunt, 25th of March 2012, media release following the medical advice biosecurity emergency determination related COVID-19 in Australia will not be renewed when it lapses on April 17. So again, this is like keeps pushing around that April 17 date, and that's Easter, and we have seen like these restrictions basically end everywhere in the world except for Australia and Canada, which tells you a lot. But you know, that's Easter time again too. And then like I always look into the esoteric of what Easter's about. Easter's about, you know, that sacrifice and death and rebirth. So it could be the death of COVID, but you know, we're far from the end of this. So is that the ushering in of the, you know, the new level of the agenda? Is it the economic collapse, you know, that's going to come at some point? And there's also the build up to, you know, what they've been talking about with a cyber attack, because I think they'll do a large scale cyber attack or even sort of beta test in the upcoming to it, based on more so the information that's coming out of America with exposing of Fauci and now the Hunter laptop. And they've already said, you know, this is the frustrating thing because these emails keep leaking more and more. And now there's ones about how Hunter Biden was, you know, they were funding some of these Ukrainian bioweapon labs or whatever. And then there's documentation now of these labs were sending material over to the Doherty Institute through this lady, what's her name, Sue Ellen Nicholson, who's a not bioweapons, but a virologist and researcher at the Doherty Institute. And they're the ones that have done all the modelling that are in with the World Economic Forum in Australia. So that's the frustrating thing with these, you know, they keep going, what do you think we're going to do? And the politicians are just palming everything off, going, well, the Doherty model says this, the fucking Doherty model's 100% part of the system. So it'd be interesting to see if they do try and pull something off, because I'm seeing there's a lot of this just brings in, you know, the whole COVID thing, what's happened the last couple of years, and showing an Australian tie again. And then also what we're seeing with the Spygate stuff with the Durham report ties in Australia as well with Alexander Downer. So it's showing a lot of links of how fucking filthy this place is, and like how connected Australia is to these, to everything that's happening on the global scale.
Yeah, definitely. It's, you know, for the people who have their eyes to see, it's fucking so obvious at the moment. It's Australia, you know, and the amount of people that are dropping dead from heart attacks and cardiac arrest, any sort of heart problems. It's just unbelievable. Like high profile people, like how are people making these connections? And
it's just, you know, the thing.
Got to be
yeah, I mean, like, do you know people personally that've had heart attacks and strokes and?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I won't go into it, but yeah, I actually know a couple of relatives that have recently had to go through heart surgery, and one actually had to have open heart surgery. But yeah, it's, you know, and then you hear other stories of people, you know, friends of friends, and it's actually one I did hear the other day was the town just, you know, I'm in Katoomba here. The next town over is Lithgow, just outside the Blue Mountains, and the local funeral director there has just been saying he's just been inundated with bodies, you know. And like this is what we're hearing from all funeral directors all over, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's you're going to wonder how many are actually linking it to the jab, and I don't think a lot are, because I mean I know personally, I won't go into it obviously because, you know, for the same reasons, because it's, you know, I know these people, but I've had family members with clotting, seizures. Had another mate that had to fly down the other week. His friend friend's father passed away from a heart attack. My bloke at my brother's work had a heart attack on the site. The other day, a girl that I used to travel around with in America, she's had a heart attack. She's a young person, about my age. They're just fucking everywhere, man. It's like, it's actual carnage. And I mean, I even had someone else tell me their friend was booked in for an ECG because they were having heart palpitations and stuff, wanted to get a scan, and they can't get in. They're booked out. They're fucking booked out. And it's like, but it just makes me think, like, I've always, like, is there going to be, I mean, we're already seeing that they reckon the increase in death is the biggest since World War II, when there was, when there was an open cull of the people. Like they're saying 40, 50% in places like Europe and America. And we're behind as far as, like our jab rollout was 6 months behind places like the UK. It just makes you think, like, how widespread is this, the scale of death actually going to be? And it's a bit beyond the point now of fucking like I do post about, the jab's toxic and all this sort of stuff, but it's like, what's the fuck? Is there much point in posting this stuff now? Like, most of these people already had 2 or 3. And it's like, I get, like, for me, it's like, just don't take the 3rd. But what do you do? Do we just have to sit back and watch it fucking unfold at the moment? It's, it's frustrating.
No, sad as it is. That's
we tried for so many years.
That's it, mate. That's it. It's what more can we do? Like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, sort of thing. They've been shouting from the rooftops for so long. People like Max and that, like, it's just insane. But they've done a number on us with all the brainwashing and the propaganda. Like, people are just fried, mate. And the fear that they live under, it's just every decision they make in their life is always out of fear. And it's it's sad to see. Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to be the ones that are here to, support the ones that are going to go through this big awakening. Because, some people are going to have a big smack in the face when they realise, I don't know, so half their family might drop dead or something. You don't know, like. But we're going to be there to support these people, that's for sure. Be that shoulder to lean on, because it's going to be carnage, like you said. There's no denying that. I always go back to that Deagle.com that said by 2025 they predicted that we'd be dropped to about 15 mil. That's a massive decline, like from 25 mil down to 15 in a matter of 5 years, I think it was. It's just fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, you've got to go back to the core of what this is. We're living in a slave system, and it's just become finally in our face. It had to reach a point where the agenda had to completely show itself, and it does. And it is bamboozling that people still can't see it, but that it shows the level of mind control. But, there's other people that have been through this education system, and like people like, how did we see it? Like I went through the same system as everyone else, and it's some of us are here, some of us came in with certain evolved souls that we could just see through this stuff. Others can't. I really doubt if some of them are even human, and it is a soul test, and we have to live out these core principles of service to others, self-sacrifice and forgiveness. And they're the key learning points that are going to come over the next few years. And then also, like, I put up a post the other day, you mentioned Max. Max used to always talk about Jesus and stuff. And, he's not a religious man, but because he used to always he's got a lot of Christians that follow him. And he's like, what the fuck would Jesus do? Because you get a lot of Christians that sit around and wait for the reckoning. But he's like, what actually would Jesus do? And I put up a post yesterday about Jesus overturning the money changes. And Max used to always say, Jesus did that. He was dead in a week. So, that on one level he's saying, you can do whatever you want, but don't fuck with the financial system or they'll have you killed. And we know which groups run the financial system for thousands of years and continue